Come back to a new post today. Let's discuss the most important points that you need to keep track for the upcoming UPSC Civil Services Examination Prelim for January 11th and 12th. The very first is about data released by World Meteorological Organization and also the Copernicus Climate Change Service, which says that 2024 is the first year to breach the 1.5 degrees centigrade global warming limit. So we have the Paris Climate Change Agreement, the meeting of the COP29 to the United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change under the Paris Climate Change Agreement was held recently and in Azerbaijan, Baku, and this agreement calls on all the nations to limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade threshold of the pre-industrial levels of global temperature. However, 2024 has been the first year to breach this 1.5 global warming limit, and the global average temperature was above 1.5 for 11 months. The average temperature for the combined years of 2023 and 2024 were 1.54 centigrade above the pre-industrial level. So what does this mean? Now, breaching the 1.5 degrees centigrade threshold breach is a sign that the world is heading towards a future of climate. Scientists that have warned about the high rate of carbon emission means that the world is likely to continue to warm in the coming years, and scientists have emphasized that humans can still control the future climate by reducing emissions. The next is about integrated food security based classification by the United Nations. Now, the integrated food security phase classification is a tool used by the United Nations to classify the severity of the food insecurity in Sudan. The integrated food security phase classification uses a 5-phase scale to indicate the level of food insecurity from minimal to famine. The IPC place classification is Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4 and Phase 5. Phase 1 means minimal, Phase 2 means stressed, Phase 3 means crisis, Phase 4 means emergency, Phase 5 means catastrophe. And the IPC's finding is that Sudan is heading towards a famine for at least 5 years. The IPC projected 17.7 million people could face crisis level and worse levels of food insecurity between October 2023 and February 2024. And the factors contributing to the current conflict in Sudan is displacement of people, high food prices and economic decline. The action that is suggested is supplementary feeding programs for children and under 5 and also pregnant women and breastfeeding women as well, urgent malnutrition treatment, ready to use formula for breastfed infants, and access to safe drinking water. Now, the G7 has agreed to fund Ukraine with regard to its fight against Russia from the money or the assets that are frozen in the EU countries. So, the EU is transferred the first 3 billion of euros to Ukraine from the loan that is funded by the proceeds from frozen Russian assets. The first disbursement of the European part of the loan agreed by G7 members. Now, this will meet Ukraine to meet its budgetary needs, and the G7 agreed last year to provide Ukraine with $45 billion loan, which is financed by the profits from the approximately 210 billion euros of frozen Russian assets parked in the EU, mainly the Euroclear in Belgium. The European Union has committed to transfer more than 18 billion euros now. Further payments will follow between March and April. So this is the money that Ukraine is getting from the frozen assets of Russia. NATO's next meeting or the summit is going to be held at Hague, Netherlands, and it will discuss the hiking of NATO's existing military spending, targeting 2% of national GDP, 3% being floated by some experts. Trump has come into the White House recently, and they are skeptical that so much would be contributed by the US with regard to military spending. And the next one is about India now joining the United Nations Committee of Experts on Big Data Science of Official Statistics, marking a very significant step in commitment in utilizing big data and technology for evidence-based policy making. So the membership reflects India's focus on leveraging big data and advanced analytics to improve official statistics, monitor sustainable development goals. It will modernize the statistical processes in India. India aims to integrate non-traditional data sources like satellite imagery, Internet of Things, and machine learning to gain real-time insights for better policy decision. Global influence: by joining this organization, India gains a platform to contribute to international standards and practices related to big data usage in official statistics. And this development comes along India's recent membership to the United Nations Statistical Council. The next is about the Hajj pilgrimage. The Minister of Minority Affairs Kiran Rijiju has signed an agreement with Saudi Arabia with regard to increasing the quota of Indians now who can go and visit Hajj pilgrimage. It is an annual Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca and Saudi Arabia, the holiest city for Muslims. Hajj is mandatory religious duty for every Muslim who has to carry it out at least once in a lifetime by all adult Muslims. And Hajj is a pilgrimage made to Kaaba, that is the house of Allah, the sacred city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, along with Shahada, that is oath that one believes that there is no God but only Allah, Salat, that is prayer, Zakat, that is almsgiving, and Sawam, that is fasting during Ramadan. The next is about the criminal tribal acts being in news. It was repealed in 1949. It was brought out in 1871. It is this very act that defined certain tribes as criminal tribes, and now they have been denotified as criminal tribes after the 1959. So we have an Habitual Offenders Act, however, in place of 1959. The denotified tribes now are taken care by the Ministry of Social Justice. There is a National Commission for Denotified Tribes functioning under the Ministry of Social Justice. The Naval Command operated its operational capability in Visakhapatnam. We have 3 naval commands in India: Western Naval Command located in Mumbai, Eastern in Visakhapatnam, and Southern in Kochi. Each command is led by a flag officer commander-in-chief. The Indian Navy is also part of the Joint Defence Command in Port Blair, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And the Central Groundwater recently, which is a primary agency of groundwater monitoring, managing, and according to the recent reports, has said that groundwater pollution in India is a significant issue. The main concern is rising level of nitrates contamination, primarily due to agriculture fertilizers, impacting a large number of districts in the country, almost 400 of them. So nitrate contamination can lead to blue baby syndrome. Other pollutants can be fluoride, arsenic, uranium, and which store these elements as well. Excessive use of nitrogen-based fertilizers is a major cause of nitrate contamination in the groundwater. And the Central Groundwater Board regularly analyzes and collects the samples of groundwater across the country to identify any hotspots of pollution. The last one is about the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which links the Gwadar port of Pakistan to the Zhejiang province of China. It is a part of the Belt and Road Initiative. So this, the CEPEC, or the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor 2.0, now has been agreed by India and Pakistan. It focuses on 5 E's: export, e-Pakistan, energy, environment, and also equity. These are the most important points I thought I should be tracking for January 11th and 12th. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video. I shall see you in weekly polity and economy for the week gone by. Until then, it's very happy learning.